Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. It's been a little while since I did a video. I've been super busy unfortunately, but luckily enough there's not been that many auctions going on in February, but we are back now. Going to have a really quick look at an auction by Bowler Binnie auctioneers based in Scotland in the UK. They have this auction coming up, which is actually finishing tomorrow. It's the 16th of February today. This auction is finishing on the 17th. It's a big auction, but there are 17 or so musical instruments in this auction that I thought might be interesting to look at. There's a few curious violins actually, so it's not a large amount, just 17 lots of musical instruments, but I thought it was worth having a look at these few violins that are in here. So just to say, we're going to super speed through this, but the buyer's premium on this auction is 24%, so whatever the final hammer price is, that's what you pay on top. This is a UK based auction, so bear that in mind if you're looking to bid from abroad, you know, import export fees, shipping, maybe CITES restrictions as well. So yeah, let's just get on with it. I'd just like to say, if you do enjoy these videos, please consider liking, subscribing, comment, turn on notifications, all of that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, without further ado, let's crack on with it. So first of all, we've got a Hohner Verdi model accordion here. A few pictures and stuff up here, 50 to 80, the estimate there. They'll definitely be popular with someone for sure. Let's see if we got this in order. So we've got a John G. Murdoch & Co. violin with a case and bow. So for those of you that don't know, these were kind of like, this was some initiative to get kind of children, or a scheme to get children playing instruments, and most of these instruments were made in Germany, some in France I think as well. So these were all, it was like a schools program. I'm not sure the exact ins and outs of it, but you see these instruments like everywhere, and they're fairly low level kind of stuff, but can be interesting. It varies, the quality of them definitely varies. So we've got some musicy bits here. I think we might need to, oh interesting, there's some kind of rifle here. I think we're going to go to the overview here because we're slipping out of musical instruments, but anyway, there was the accordion, that's the violin. So we've got a guitar here, a Washburn 6-string acoustic, 20 to 30, which is pretty fair estimate to be fair, and a few other pictures, nothing kind of too crazy there in the description. Right, we've got a violin here, an antique violin with two bows, one signed Alexander and fitted coffin case. Let's have a look at these pictures. So hard to tell anything from those bows, doesn't look too crazy. Violin looks kind of curious. Let's see if there's any better pictures. Okay, that's an interesting, someone's just like written Alexander in pen on that. Nothing too crazy on the bows, but good pictures. Yep, nice pictures on that. Looks like a fairly standard violin really, although there's some of the scroll and stuff looks a little bit different, but I think it's just a trade instrument, but nevertheless kind of curious to see. Another violin here with bow initials DV in fitted vintage case, needs attention, 30 to 60. Let's see if we can recognise anything here. Hard to see what's going on so far. Once again, this looks, not sure actually, this could be interesting. The bow could be curious. So it looks like this is not the correct adjuster on this bow. Looks a bit big. Bit difficult to tell what's going on. I think another kind of trade violin of some kind, I would think. Oh, neck detached as well, so that's problematic. So are there any pictures of the bow? Looks like someone's just scratched their initials in that. Adjuster is not correct. Yeah, difficult to say on that. Bow could be interesting, but you'd need better pictures to be honest. Right, another violin here. Antique violin in fitted case, 25 to 40. This looks like a very kind of standard trade, yeah, pretty low level trade thing, so nothing too crazy there. Another antique violin with no label. I think just another kind of trade instrument, that one. I suspect that it can be difficult to work it out sometimes. Right, saying an antique German Marcus Steiner violin with Steiner on the back, so I think this is your classic trade violin, classic trade Steiner. Let's have a look if we can see it. Yeah, it's a classic trade violin, that, so we can kind of skip that. Right, a couple of bows here. They've got 2 to 300 on this. An antique Jean-Baptiste Violin Paris violin bow with marking Violin Paris. An antique violin bow, no maker visible. Let's have a look what's going on here. Yeah, I suspect that that's kind of interesting looking bow. That looks fairly standard kind of trade stuff. It'd be interesting to see in person. It almost looks like a kind of knot kind of adjuster, but yeah, hard to tell from those photos, to be honest, but could be of interest to someone. Right, an antique violin with back stamp and label. Let's have a look at this. This is also looking a little bit like a kind of standard trade violin. Super wide grain there on the top of that. Yeah, I don't think this is anything other than a kind of German trade violin, probably 1900s or something, maybe a bit earlier. An antique Wilson of Mauchline violin. Okay, interesting. 40 to 60. Not sure what this is. Looks like it could be kind of amateur work or so. Looks a little bit like that. Could be an interesting project for someone. Curious there. 40 to 60. It's not a lot, so I don't know if it will go for too much. Right, vintage violin with bow in fitted case. Let's have a look at this. Looks once again like a fairly standard violin, that. Yeah, I don't think there's anything too crazy. Let's see if there's a bow. Okay, bow there. That looks kind of curious. Face plates coming away from the boat. You'd want to look at that a bit more in person, I think. Got a Bousin Hawks Le Fleur tenor saxophone in case. Might be kind of interesting to someone. 60 to 80, fairly low estimate. Okay, mandolin here. An Alfredo Albertini Bolbach mandolin, 50 to 100. Slightly fancier than some of the normal ones, but I don't think these are anything too super special, really. Fairly standard from Catania. Right, let's have a look at this. So these are the interesting lots, I think, coming up here. So an English violin, possibly by John Johnson, circa 1760, 100 to 200 pounds on that. Yeah, interesting looking violin and scroll there. I think that's pretty curious. I think that this might get a fair bit of attention. Yeah, it's an interesting looking one. That scroll is amazing. Yeah, very interesting scroll. Yeah, looking at some of the kind of the outline of it and looking on some of the databases, I mean, yeah, it looks kind of, it could be possible. Very, very big button repair there at the back, so that's unfortunate. Hard to see if there's kind of anything going on with the sound post, but that is an interesting looking violin, to be fair. So I think that is definitely worth a look. So curious one there, and super low estimate as well, 100 to 200. You can't really argue with that. An antique interesting violin with bow and case with name B. Norman on neck. Okay, interesting. Kind of bow looks like it could be interesting, like wide grain on that as well. Yeah, not sure exactly what that is. Interesting kind of scroll on it. Yeah, not quite sure exactly what that is, but looks kind of slightly curious. Would have been good to see more pictures of the bow there, but 100 to 200, yeah, kind of curious. And we got one last one here, I think. Yeah, this is the last lot. An 18th century English violin with bow, with label displaying made and sold by Sam Thompson, St Paul's Churchyard, London, 100 to 200. Okay, let's have a look at this. I think another one that's probably quite interesting. Yeah, quite an interesting looking violin here. Yeah, it looks kind of curious there. Oh, that's a really nice end pin. That's quite interesting. See if there's any pictures from the front. It looks like there's some repairs there. Looks like maybe a big kind of bit of repair there on the front, so watch out for that kind of stuff. Yeah, it looks like this might be inked purfling, which would, you know, be, yeah, inked purfling here. It's where it's kind of worn off. That would be kind of about right for a Chas and Samuel Thompson English violin, kind of late 18th century. So yeah, that does kind of look like the label. I think that would say Chas and Sam Thompson. So yeah, interesting violin, and a bow there as well. So yeah, a couple of interesting violins there. So we've looked at Bowler and Binnie before. They do quite a lot of auctions, and occasionally they have some interesting instruments. But even on small auctions where, you know, they only have a few musical instruments, sometimes there's some curious stuff. So yeah, I think that's kind of not a bad few things in this auction. Mainly, I think these couple of interesting violins at the end, or at least those kind of two, probably the Thompson one and also this John Johnson one, whatever it is, they're pretty interesting, definitely worth watching. So yeah, that's it really, just a really quick video because I haven't done one for a long time. So appreciate it, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.